I took this sign, I'm a Muslim and a US Marine, ask anything. From all the way to Washington, to Texas, to Kentucky. And like I kind of hit up everywhere, man.
Trump country.
Trump country, Bible Belt, whatever you want to call it, you know?
How did people react to that sign?
I got into my swing once, people started having conversations. But that first time when you walk and it's like everybody's looking at you, it's kind of weird, man.
For a few years now, Mansoor Shams has intentionally sought out the attention of the Islamophobic strains in our society. He's done it under the moniker Muslim Marine. Through billboards, in-person canvassing, and cable news interviews, he's become this unofficial ambassador for Muslims. His American military service grants him this particular kind of all-American status that I grew up thinking excluded Muslims. I still wonder if it does. My name is Ayman Ismail. To grow up Muslim means to grow up being feared. So I'm traveling the country to find out for myself if there's really any reason to be afraid of American Muslims. When I think about Muslims in the military, this is what comes to mind. Khazir and Ghazali Khan's speech about their son's sacrifice, and Donald Trump's Islamophobic response.
If you look at his wife, maybe she wasn't allowed to have anything to say.
The spectacle made me uneasy for a couple reasons. It took Trump attacking a Gold Star family for his peers to rebuke his fear-mongering against Muslims. Seriously? And why do we have to turn to a family who's lost a son in the military to affirm that Muslims can be patriotic too? When I first saw Mansoor's campaign as the Muslim Marine, I loved it. He traveled to 24 states with nothing but a handwritten sign and an earnest desire to change minds. But I kept asking myself that same question. Do Muslims have to serve in the military to prove that they're patriotic? And by championing Mansoor, are we perpetuating the notion that Muslims still need to earn their place in American society? I went to Maryland to find out.
As a veteran, I was disappointed. After 12 years of service, if you tell me that I hate America, there got to be something wrong with the information you present.
In Maryland, Mansoor and I had dinner with a few local Muslim veterans, and between them, they served decades.
If you have the President of the United States saying, ban all Muslims, or Islam hates us, or whatever.
I think Islam hates us.
He's the commanding general. He's the guy who pulls the trigger.
You're supposed to know where the threat is to keep us safe, so what happens when he thinks that the threat is us?
Right.
Americans in general are good-natured. They're positive. I don't think that 3-4 years is enough time to totally destroy our value system.
If President Trump was the president at the time, I would have had second thoughts. But as of today, I would encourage young Muslims to join the service so they can show their contribution to the country.
If we want to really affect change in America, we have to be involved in every form of government or public, private sector, everywhere we can. Yeah. And the military is one of them.
Muslims are skeptical of the military for a lot of reasons. We enlist in small numbers considering our growing population. But Mansoor told me that his story isn't typical. He immigrated from Pakistan at age 6, and he had a rough childhood, at one point staying in a foster home. He decided that by joining the Marines, he'd have an opportunity to start over. He signed up a year before 9/11.
9/11 was a traumatic event, I think, just like for the rest of America, for also Muslims, because we're also American if people didn't know. I did see certain behavioral changes. It started off as jokes, like calling people terrorists. In the beginning I laughed it off. I was like, oh, okay, whatever, But then I felt like I had to nip it in the bud and talk about it.
Still, Mansoor speaks positively of his experience. He said that it helped shape him. When he was officially discharged in 2008, he moved on. But then this kept on happening.
If you meet 5 Muslims, only one of them is likely to think it's okay to kill you.
He was yelling, Allah Akbar.
If they believe in Sharia, they should be deported.
So a friend of his took his phone and changed his Twitter to Muslim Marine. Right away, the Muslim Marine became a sought-after voice. I wondered if Mansoor had thought more about the message his campaign is sending.
So I'm worried that by telling the world we should listen to the Muslim veteran especially, that would be signaling, listen to the Muslim veteran because he's a veteran and not because he's Muslim.
I wish this wasn't even a discussion.
Right.
I wish this wasn't even happening right now. But unfortunately, we are at a state in this nation where we have built these blocks in our heads. Do I think that I am the voice for Islam? No. However, the part of the veteran is to quell those fears. If you see something that's going wrong, you try to offer a helping hand.
I was surprised by Mansoor's candor. He's proud of his service, but he wishes that he didn't have to use it to get people to listen to him as a Muslim. And he understands why some Muslims would be wary of the military.
There's something called symbolic action, right? And today, the symbolism of the armed forces is the President of the United States. Okay, so if Muslims are skeptical of the armed forces, I would be an idiot to say they shouldn't be. I'd be lying to you. Muslims by the way, if you don't know, are an asset to the United States Armed Forces. And the stuff that we're engaged in, you want me, trust me. And the stuff that we're going to be probably engulfed in for the next decades to come, you need me on your side. Having said that, yes, there's going to be skepticism. Why? Because you have the commander-in-chief saying, ban Muslims. That's pretty blunt and straightforward, right? There's nothing, you can't sugarcoat that. So if I'm a Muslim, and the commander-in-chief just said this, I'm not going to be skeptical?
I understand why so many American Muslims remain skeptical of the military. I mean, I am too. But I also understand Mansoor's point of view. In a lot of ways, his story is quintessentially American. He immigrated, pulled himself out of a very tough circumstance, and reinvented himself. He credits both the military and his religion for that. The question is whether Mansoor's experience really can change hearts. That reminded me of a story Mansoor told me about his encounter with a man from Texas.
This guy just, he walks out and, he's like, I read your sign and I didn't see the Marine part, I just saw the Muslim. So then, I said, so what about if the Marine part wasn't there? So what if the Marine part wasn't there? And he sent me a beautiful message afterwards, talking about that it was meant to be for me to turn that corner. It's a beautiful message, the better part, something like this. Awesome. You were the better man out there to bring us together, and I appreciate. And it's just a beautiful message, from the heart,
It's a moving story, and it seems like Mansoor really is changing minds. But a part of me still resents the fact that I'd have a very different experience had that been me holding that sign. I'm a Muslim. I'm not a veteran, but you can still ask me anything.